Hello rum fans, welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at our 16th rum on this Barbados deep dive. This is the Mount Gay XO. I can't recall a time that I've ever had this apart from like a couple of like little tiny drizzles at recent rum shows. And I mean recent, I mean this year. I don't think I'd had it 2022. I'm pretty sure I've never had it before there. So I'm really looking forward to diving into this rum. Now, if you're just joining me on this journey, the whole point of these journeys now, these deep dives, we do one country at a time now. I'm trying to find my favorite one rum from that specific country. Sometimes we actually don't get one rum. At the moment you can kind of see I've got two rums. The same was with Jamaica last time. You know, I had a favourite neat sipper and a favourite for cocktails, and the same's becoming true at the moment. But potentially, you know, price comes into it as well, taste comes into it. But I'm looking for, you know, can we get away with just one rum from Barbados, or do we need a couple with an arm? Especially if you do like cocktails as well. If you're like me that loves neat sipping but also loves mixing in cocktails, can we get away with just one rum? It's becoming more and more apparent to me that we can't, because what I enjoy neat, I don't enjoy in cocktails, and what I enjoy in cocktails, I don't enjoy neat. So, you know, we're there. But as I say, we're 16 rums deep. This is the last of the XOs. I've done 4 XOs. We've done the Dawleys, we've done the Plantation, obviously, we've done the Cockspur, and now we're at the Mount Gay. Now, again, I haven't got absolute minimal. I'll give you what's on the back of the bottle in a second, but minimal knowledge as to what this is. I've heard that this has got an average age of 15-year-old rums in it. I don't think that's true. I think it potentially has got 15-year-old rums in it, but the average age, I would assume, is a lot lower. Basically, let's get to the price. All right, the price holds this because the price is in the UK, and this, I think I'll put flashes up. I think this is gifted. I think this is a paid promotion from Master of Malt. I forget what they sent me now, but I'll pop this up there. Master of Malt sent me some rums, some in cocktail ingredients for the other couple of channels as well. So I'm kind of in a working relationship with them, but I love Master of Malt. Master of Malt is a company now I've used for 15 years or so. So the prices I always give you are from Master of Malt. So if you were going to buy this, you'd be looking at the best part of £60. 60. I'm pushing my £50 limit here to the most. I think this is the most. All right, we did Hamden in Jamaica, which was £68, but I think, you know, I definitely don't want to be breaching £70 for this. All right, so this is at the upper limits, but just so you relate this around the world of how much that actually is in your currency, we're talking 72 US dollars rounded down. We're talking 69 euros rounded up, 113.5 Australian dollars, and 98.5 Canadian dollars. So that's how much we would pay. Go on, open invitation. Go on, like embarrass us in the US. Come on, the US. I know you're going to get this at a damn sight cheaper than 72 US dollars. So whack your prices in the comments below. Euros, I'm not thinking you'd get that much cheaper. Australia, I'm not thinking you'd get that much cheaper. But the US guys, I think you're going to be knocking a good $12, $15 off that at least. On the nose, this smells quite inviting, actually. This has got the kind of aroma, because this, and the big difference between this and this will be the dosage. As far as I'm aware, 0 dosage to 20 grams per litre. The aroma that's coming off this straight away is, oh, interesting. Apricot I got straight away. When I dip my nose in a little bit more, yes, there's a bit of ethanol bite. It's a 43%er. This is the thing I've noticed with Barbados rum as well. With Jamaican rum, I don't really pick too much variance between 40 and 43. So like a lot of the Appletons are 43, and a lot of the other stuff is 40. I think there's not too much variance. I am picking quite a bit of variance between Barbados 40 and Barbados 43, like as in barrel notes, and whether that's because it's some are sweetened, some aren't, whether they're different, you know, you've got the cognac finish on this as well, but this is This is quite interesting. Yes, there's a little bit of that gluey kind of alcohol vibe going on, but there's that apricot thing. Now, I wanted to give this every opportunity. I should have opened it yesterday, but this has been open now for 45 minutes to an hour. But I am still getting that sort of ethanol-y alcohol. I was hoping that would disappear, but you know, it will be interesting to come back to this again in another week or so. A lot of people going about neck pours and all that sort of stuff. There's, you know, if you believe in that, then, you know, you're going to get a neck pour from every bottle. It's not that I believe in neck pours as such, or like that first bit is the ethanol. Yes, you know, as soon as you do that, if the alcohol, like pent up aggression, that sort of thing, you know, as soon as you pop, all that pent up aggression is like popping out of there. So your alcohol, your ethanol, your different types of alcohols that are in there are just like wanting to explode and go. It's, you know, once you get rid of those, you would then get in there. So traditionally speaking, for me, a rum does change after 2, 3, 4 weeks. And the prime example I use for this, when we go back to a different country, is that. Off that, the first few days off that, mango for days. It was more mango forward than Plantation's pineapple. Stiggins' fancy was pineapple forward. It was huge. But then that dulled down. I still get mango off it, but nowhere near as much. What I get off this, yes, the apricot is kind of in there, but what I do get off this is actually a little bit of gluey alcohol. A little swell, see if we can sort of do anything else. I'll tell you what I might do. I might actually pour myself another kind of glass. That's really interesting. So first one out, massive glug poured out. This will go back in the bottle, don't worry. Massive glug out, and then this is that sort of bit there. That's changed. Vanilla. Interesting, vanilla's off there now. I still get a little bit of the apricot, but nowhere near as much as that one. It's that whole neck pour phenomenon. It's quite interesting. It's what I mean. I don't call it a neck pour. I get it. I think it's just, as I say, the pent-up aggression from all that alcohol that's been in there 6 months, a year, however long it's been sitting in there, it just wants to get out. And I think once you release it, or dive down to a little bit of the bottom of the or middle of the bottle, you get a very different sort of profile. I would still sort of pick that apricot. I'm still getting that apricot in there, tropical fruit in there as well, but it is more vanilla-y, woody, oak aged. Would I pick that as cognac aged? No, not like the Plantations. It is, you know, it is nowhere near Plantation level of cognac aging. Do you know what? This is quite, there's layers there, but this is quite interesting. It's, you know, it's the other thing as well. You don't really get I'm just going to call them neck pours because I get a lot of comments about neck pours. You don't really get the neck pours with some. Well, I didn't get it with any of the cockspurs. I didn't get it with, you know, what else have I tasted? Any of those sort of the younger rums as well, the Dawleys, the 3-year-olds or anything. I don't get that. So I can kind of tell a neck pour when you get that sort of alcohol. It's the alcohol. It's not necessarily the fruit, but it's the alcohol. It's the pent-up aggression, as I call it, wanting to get out. This one, there's still a little bit of that glue, a little bit of that sort of ethanol-y vibe coming off it, but it's completely different to this one. Completely different. Just to give you the profile that other people have got from this, I don't think I'm getting much else off this, to be honest. I'm going to struggle. It'll be another couple of weeks now before I got to this. But to run you through it, other people: vanilla, caramel, woody, sweet, tobacco, oak and spice. Oak and spice, no. Tobacco, definitely not. I would pick that. Sweet, yeah, no, not Plantation XO, you know, that's a different level of sort of sweetness, but yeah. Woody, kind of, yeah, I would, barrel aging. I could pick the barrel aging off this. That's what I mean by that, but nowhere near like spice levels and that. And then we've got coffee, raisin, fruity, candied, dried fruit, roasted, tropical fruits, coconut, brown sugar, banana, soft sugarcane, plum. Tropical fruits I'm kind of relating to a little bit in there with the apricot, a little bit of chocolate fruits, but yeah, I think this would be an interesting one to come back to in a couple of weeks. Now, neat tasting. I'm going to put this right on the line here, and I'm going to give you genuinely honest and open opinion. While I prefer the Plantation XO, I know a lot of people, that's really tasty. That is really, really good. A lot of people, the 5% are going this all day long over that, all day long. That's very nice. That is very, very nice. Do you know what? This is going, oh, my little brain's going, I'm not going to sum this up in a moment, but there's a potential here. It's going to come down to the price at the end of the day. That's delicious. Right, what am I getting? It's not what I would think of a Barbados rum. It's not tropical fruit forward. It's, I would say this is a lovely example of an aged rum. It's so well balanced. There's wood, but there's no peppery bite that's putting me off. It's a light, again, I don't know the DNA of this, but it's a lighter rum that's on there, and I quite like that. And I think that's why I like the Dawleys, the RL Seal 10, because it is a lighter rum. It's not as wet, woody and in your face as like the Dawleys 12 and that. Again, we're going to come back to it, so that might be a biased opinion from the past. I could get properly used to this. This is really tasty. In my head, I would put this, oh, I'm going to get slated here. I would put this as a direct competitor to your Appleton 12s and your Appleton 15s, because they're not out and out what you'd expect as Jamaican funk. They kind of then default themselves into a generic neat sipper, and they're very good generic neat sippers, don't get me wrong. Not essentially what I'm looking for, but I understand they are very, very good neat sippers. This plays in that camp. And I'll tell you how much I like it without getting specific flavours that are coming off. I think I'm struggling to pick the flavours. I've got chocolate. I've got, well, mocha, chocolate and coffee, I was going to say, but like a mocha vibe. I've got a lovely, not quite as praline forward as the Real McCoy, the 5-year-old Real McCoy. I forget which one it was, but one of them had real praline. There's a lot of praline vibe going to it, but not massive praline. So you've got that mocha thing. You've got a little bit of tropical fruit in there. Nowhere near Plantation XO levels. Nowhere near that. But it's a little bit there. You've got vanilla. You've got a little bit. I like that because because that is a proper hefty aged rum, but you're not getting the wood burn. And the pepper, the spice, the cinnamon that goes over your tongue. I really like that. I don't think I'm going to do this any more justice, but other people, woody, vanilla, caramel, barrel, chocolate, strong. Yeah, that for me, if I say how strong is this, I'm putting this well above 43%, well above 43, 46, 48. That's got some meat to the bones. This has, so strong. Yes, spice. Yeah, but nothing dramatic. Yeah, dry. As it's undosed and not sweetened, so that. But I wouldn't call it dry. So coffee. There we go. There's that mocha sort of thing. Tobacco. No, I very rarely get tobacco, if I'm being honest. Alcoholic. Yeah. See. That's that. I think that refers to the sort of the ethanol-y, the methane, methanol. Is that? Yeah, of course it is. I've doubted myself. What are the alcohols in rum? There's loads of different alcohols. I would kind of, the glue, that's astringent. That's the word I would use for that. Banana, coconut. Yeah, see? Sweet, balanced, molasses, balanced. That's a very good word, balanced. I like that word. Molasses, burnt sugar, fruits, dark chocolate, and oak. Oh wow, tiny, like Rum Fashioned without the bitters, a tiny bit of sugar. The Rum Punch is coming in a second. Before I've even said it, I'm feeling massively hypocritical with what I want to say. That's why I'm not saying it at the moment. And I'm purely relating this to the Hamden video, because the Hamden was only £9 more, really. Eight and a half, £8. So where are we? $10 more. And I dismissed it on price. But I'm trying to work this through in my head. That, with a tiny, tiny drizzle of sugar and a little bit of dilution from the ice cube, that tastes phenomenal. It is a completely different profile to the Plantation XO. Now, the sugar and the dilution brings out a more chocolatey, praline, I like that word. Chocolatey, coffee, there's a little bit of fruit there. The only downside, the only criticism I've got of that, like I'm allowed to criticise, you know, I'm sorry, but the only criticism I've got of that is that I personally just want a little bit more fruit, like tropical fruit, what I associate Barbados with. That's the only downside. That's delicious. That is really good. That surprised me, massively surprised me. That's getting polished off all day long. But let's dive into the rum punch. So with the rum punch, I've said it, you know, time and time again, it's just a simple rum punch, unflavoured, lime, sugar, water, old school punch with the rum coming through, allowing the rum to do its work. This, wow. Oh, wow, that's good. Now, I've got to work this through in my head, and I've got, there's going to be a spiel coming here because I've got to talk it through to kind of get to my own opinion here. In the moment, I'm thinking I might just sit on the fence and just take it anyway. Look, there's a couple of ways I can look at this. I'm looking for one rum that does neat sipping and cocktails. That does cocktails, hands down, but it's £60. £60. I dismissed the Hamden 8-year-old because it was £68. 68 and a bit. But I think what the only way I can kind of justify that in my head was because I had really good rums, really good rums that were cheaper. Now, yes, that Dawley's 5-year-old is cheaper, but I don't think it's the quality of these. I really don't. That's everything I want. And that's the big difference. I think with the Jamaican series, there were those rums. I had a whole plethora of different rums that I could pick on for cocktails, and it was a real struggle. At the moment, I'm really struggling for that Barbados rum that shines through in cocktails, and it is that Dawley's 5. But this does, but it's £60. Look, this is how I'm going to finish this video, because that I think is the next one up, the RLC or 10, and it's in a different filming session. That's the potential, for me, competitor to all of these. I think at the moment where my head is, this could potentially dethrone both of those. Because if I just want one, at the moment, if I want Barbados rums for cocktails, I've got to spend £50 on that, and I've got to spend another 30-ish pounds on that. So I've got to spend £80 to do what I want to do with neat sipping and cocktails. I love that. It's a different profile. It is. And it's a fruitier profile. But I could potentially, you know, I could potentially have that as a neat sipper. I really could. And then does that then come back into the, I don't know, because that's, I don't know. I'm so torn now. I'm so sat on the fence. That has thrown me. I wasn't expecting that to be that good. As I say, the only negativity is that lack of tropical fruit. I tell you how I'm going to do. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to revisit this, if I remember, at the start of the RLCL 10, or maybe just before I start filming, just to reacclimatise myself, just to see whether the bottle has changed, whether any more fruit does come off the bowl. Judging by the tasting notes here, I'm not expecting more fruit to come off. And I do like a little bit of fruit on my sort of sipping rums, tropical fruit. But at the moment, as it stands, I would potentially dethrone, wow, well, the 5% are going to look at me thinking, what's going on here? Because I'm such a plantation fanboy. But I think at the moment, as it stands, that might dethrone both of those. Oh, that's tough. Join me next time anyway for the RL Seal 10.